Welcome to Monday Motivations, 52 weeks to a more purposeful you. This week, we're talking about change, and we have Rose West on the show, and I'm so excited for you all to meet her. She's a yoga instructor. Well, that's how we met, through yoga. But at the very first time you were subbing for another teacher at Eastwind in Roseville. And just the way that you ran the class, the way that I feel like my body got so much more out of it from just the way that you led. I was drawn to you right away. And then I just thought, I need to have her on the show. And then we were starting the 75 hard, which I fell off very hard and fast. But I think we can talk about that. But welcome to the show.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And I hope that your dog Knox joins us again. He's so cute. But for those of you who don't know Rose, here's a little bit more about her. Rose West is a wife, a mom of two girls, a yoga instructor specializing in Buti yoga, which I'm going to come back to that because I want to know more about it. A business owner, a health and fitness enthusiast, and a lover of good food, excuse me, and tacos. So what is Buti yoga? B-U-T-I yoga.
Yeah, B-U-T-I. And Buti yoga is a combination of traditional yoga, asana, tribal dance, Pilates, strength training. It's all done to like underground hip hop music, tribal music. So it's a super fun, upbeat class. I would definitely say it's more of like a power yoga, very cardio intensive. But there's also just this magical, like freeing kind of primal, I don't know, wild kind of feel to it. And it's so funny because every time somebody comes to that class, they're a little bit nervous. They're like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And it's so fun to see their reaction after taking the class. And they're like, I don't know what that was, but it was amazing. And my body just needed to move that way. And so I love teaching that format most because I took a Buti yoga class a few years ago, and I had that same experience where I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I want more of this.
Yeah.
So
how old were you when you took that first Buti yoga class?
That was probably 4 or 5 years ago when I took a Buti class, and yeah, I loved it.
We're gonna know your age. So I'm just curious, like that experience, what part of your life were you in?
Yeah, I was probably about 31 when I took that class.
Okay.
36.
Okay. Yeah, and the reason that I'm asking, because I imagine I haven't taken it, I'm going to take it. But I just imagine, I remember in my 30s, going to like a dance class, which I hadn't danced in years. And I was a dancer in my younger days. And I remember like it was so emotional for me, going so long without dancing. I'm actually feeling emotional right now, just thinking about it. And like realizing how disconnected I was from expressing my body. And I was already doing yoga at the time, which was also another great experience to start yoga. But there's something about, like you're saying, that tribal dance, like expressing yourself, that I just feel like we miss, like in general in our culture. Like so I'm excited to experience Buti yoga.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I was a dancer too. And so I understand that. And, the thing that I love about it is that, we will twerk in a Buti class. Yeah. We will move our hips and, just do some things that we don't always normally do. Or I always say, just know that this class is going to be weird. Like we do weird things in this class. And it's so freeing. Yeah, it is liberating. And we create that container where it's like, it's safe to do this and we're not being sexual, and it's
Right.
okay to do this and move your body in this way. And I think it does just release. I always say, we move through emotions, and
Mhm.
we really kind of like release and shake off some of those emotions and stress
Absolutely.
onto. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I recently started I've done lots of different kinds of therapies, EMDR, but I recently started brain spotting, and I've done 2 sessions, and she always tells me afterwards, like, move your body, you've got to like shake this stuff off. And she's like, dance, like turn music on and dance, and which I didn't do, but um but yeah, there's something really powerful about movement. And I feel like we're overall, we all influence and affect each other. We're like this network, all of us humans alive right now. And it's like we're so in our heads.
mhm.
And even just like trying to not be in our heads and moving our body, I feel like even in yoga, like, yes, we're moving and taxing our bodies, but there's something about like a freestyle dance is different than, am I holding this pose right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, totally. And I think one of the things that I love about Buti is when you're holding poses and you're doing like more of a slow yoga, your mind can travel
yeah,
other places, and you're thinking about your grocery list and what you need to do that day. And and in the Buti class, we're doing so many different things, and we're doing these little micro movements within the postures. And you have this music, and it keeps you present. It keeps you
Mhm.
there. Your mind doesn't have a chance to travel. So
Well, when we get done with this, I'm logging on, I'm going to look at the schedule, and I'm going to time block, and I'm going to be in one of your classes.
awesome.
So should we get on the topic of change?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you think about this week's topic? I know you read it and we started chatting a bit, but what was it like for you to read about that?
Yeah. Well, I think change is inevitable. It happens for all of us. And sometimes we choose that change, and sometimes change just kind of gets thrown at us, and
Mhm.
we're forced into that. And, I've had both in my life. And, I totally look at change as an opportunity for growth. And I think you really mentioned that in your message. And so, yeah, when it comes to change, I think, a lot of times we're just loyal, or at least for me, I'm loyal to what I'm doing or what I said I was going to do. And that kind of can keep us stuck. And sometimes we're just stuck in the known. Like, this is what I know. This is what is comfortable. And if I change, I don't know what is over there. And that's new, and that's different, and it's scary. And even if we know, like, this is the direction I need to go,
Yeah,
this no longer feels in alignment. Sometimes we just stay there because it's routine, and we'll stay in a position that doesn't feel good, that's really not comfortable,
wow.
just because it's familiar. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I love what I never thought of that before, and I wrote it down. Sometimes we don't change because we're loyal.
Mhm.
And I had written about that I got stuck in determination. So
Mhm.
I love we get stuck because we're determined, or we get stuck because we're loyal, or we get stuck because it's comfortable and it's known. Like, there's all these reasons that we'll get
Trying to
stuck.
prove something. Like,
Yes.
I told everybody I was going to do this, and I've got to prove it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't need to prove this to anybody, and I can change at any moment, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about what what is your experience like, or what do you notice about, like, say you want to make a change, but you aren't doing it? Like, I mean, right now you're doing 75 hard,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and many people, including me, started out and then didn't continue. So like, what do you think about, like, speak to when people, including yourself, want to change, but then they don't do it?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to that, and I'm going to move because
Yeah.
my battery is showing that it's low.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem. No problem.
so, yeah, I
Well,
mean,
you're changing, you're adapting.
yes, yes, we are. I really think that accountability and community is huge when making changes. And and so I think that's really huge. And that's one of the things that we, really attempted to do with the 75 hard is bringing people together that are all moving in the same direction.
Mhm.
That definitely can be huge for just making that change be successful. I think anytime that you are changing up what you're doing, changing your routine, stopping drinking, starting to work out, whatever that is for you, anytime you're going to have your own resistance, like you talked about,
Mhm.
but you're going to have a lot of resistance from the people around you, especially if the community that you have, the friends or the family that you have, aren't moving in that same direction that you want to go. And so one of the things I always say is to be pleasantly persistent against that resistance.
Ooh,
Because
I'm writing that down.
because I think sometimes we can think, oh, well, these people aren't supporting me. Maybe this is a sign that I should quit,
Mm.
you know?
Mhm.
And I don't think that's a sign that you should quit. I think that's a sign that you are creating ripples
Yep.
and the people around you are feeling that,
Mhm.
and so keep going,
Yeah.
and I've felt this so many times in my life, 75 hard, you're definitely going to feel that. I've made a decision in my life not to drink,
Mhm.
and that upset my drinking friends,
Yeah.
and because they want me to join them, you
Yeah.
know and even with my siblings, you know I eat very healthy, and when I go out to eat with them, they're like, come on, you're so boring, why don't you just eat the dessert, why don't you just eat the fries, you know what?
Mhm.
And so there is this amount of like resistance that you're going to feel. And
Mhm.
when it's people that love you and people that are close to you, that's really challenging.
Yeah.
So, and even when I started my business 13 years ago, uh, I was a young mom, and I really started changing up kind of what was going on in our household. My husband had to watch the kids or be alone with the baby more often, or put them to bed. And he felt the changes that I was making
Yeah.
was making him change. And so he was resistant to that. But I think anytime that you're making changes, consistency is really key to helping the other people around you
Mhm.
really go, okay, this is the new norm,
Mhm.
and I I'm gonna, adjust to that. you
Yeah.
know when we start to go, oh, well, I'll drink, well, I'm not going to drink, well, I'll drink,
Yeah.
well, I'm not going to drink, because we're um we're trying to make that change, but we're
Yeah.
not being consistent with it. Then people don't know what to expect. And coming back to the 75 hard, I think the beauty of the 75 hard is it's a solid line in the sand.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not going to drink. I'm doing the 75 hard.
Yeah. And for those, will you just really quickly say what the 75 hard is for people that don't know what it is?
Yeah, the 75 hard is for 75 days. You are not drinking alcohol. You're sticking to a nutrition plan of your choice. You're reading 10 pages of a personal development book. You're taking a progress picture every day. You're drinking a gallon of water every single day. I feel like I'm missing one of the things. And you're doing 2 45-minute workouts.
One outside.
Yeah, one outside. So, I think the more cut and dry you are, like here's the line in the sand and it's not moving, people stop asking you if you want the drink. People stop asking you if you stop pushing against you. So change is much easier when you're consistent.
I'm writing that down. Yeah, I think that's on this topic of change in terms of making changes that I desire. I have really been failing forward. And I think that's the missing piece. And there's some scriptures in the Hebrew Bible that talks about a double mind versus a single mind. So it's like I haven't been single-minded and I've been double-minded. So there's always these little like, well, but under this, and for me, my big thing is I'm looking to live an alcohol-free lifestyle. And because I haven't been consistent, my friends or family, they're like, well, are you doing your 75 thing? Or you do, and so because there's mixed messages, it creates a lack of clarity for myself and others. So what did you say? Consistency. I started writing it down.
Well, what did I say?
I'll listen to it again.
Yeah, I mean, being pleasantly persistent, against the resistance, and being consistent in whatever it is that you're doing is really going to help the people around you adjust, and honor that change that you're making.
Yeah. Now, have you ever, how you talked about, you said there's two kinds of resistance, our own and then others. So can you speak to even maybe using your journey from when you shifted to not drinking, or even another life change? It doesn't have to be that one, but where you might have not, you had to battle your own inner resistance while manage other people's resistance. And it could be the 75 hard, it could be, I don't know what, but.
Yeah. I mean, for me, there's that resistance, just the personal resistance of like fear of the unknown, and what does this look like? But if I just take the drinking example, for me, that was a decision that, one, I didn't want to do it out of peer pressure. I didn't want to be doing it because I was trying to fulfill an emotion or de-stress, or, I wanted to be able to find other things that, healthier forms
that
of
really de-stresses you. Because alcohol does not de-stress.
Yeah. I mean, from a health perspective, that was something that I wanted to do. And I mean, there's just the resistance of like, hey, I like to do this, or
when you want two different things. Like, I like to do this, but I want health. I don't want to give into the peer pressure. I want to de-stress in healthy ways. So it's almost like, what do they call that? The biggest pile thing. So I want to do this, is if this pile is bigger, then I want to be healthy. I want.
I think there needs to be more rewards on the whatever the direction you want to go.
The change that you want,
Yeah.
you need to focus on the rewards.
Yeah. And I think too, I'm reading right now for the second time the book called Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah. Got it on audio.
Yeah.
Oh, the 75 part that I started.
But one of the big things that it talks about is, how do you identify? And, if you take two people and one of them said, and you offer them, let's just say you offer them to smoke, and one says, oh no, I'm trying to quit. And the other one says, no, I'm not a smoker.
Right.
Which one is more likely to end up smoking? The one that's trying to quit, because they haven't yet just solidified for themselves this identity that they're not a smoker. They don't smoke, So, and hear me in this too, like, it doesn't always have to be like black and white.
Right.
But there needs to be a decided upon.
Yep.
And when you're making changes, is it even like a couple of years ago, I said, I'm going to drink 10 times in 10 days out of the year. And that way it's not just because it's there and in front of me. It's not out of peer pressure. It's not out of emotion, but I had decided on, these 10 days, and it was pre-decided on, and actually some of those days came and went, and I was like, no, I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah.
And others were like, no, this was like the perfect drink, the perfect people, the perfect situation. And I really felt like that was a great experience, and I felt great afterwards. And so, but it was really, it wasn't just this wishy-washy,
right. So kind of going back to the how you identify. So in that period, you were like, I am a person that I'm an intentional planning drinker.
Yeah.
And then there was a new line in the sand. So that was a different line in the sand. And then the new line in the sand is, I don't drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this is great for this topic of change, because even how you're saying being a business owner, if you remember probably back when you first started your business, it would feel awkward or weird to be like, I own a business, or I'm the CEO, or I remember when I first started my business feeling like, am I allowed to say my company? Like just getting used to that identity of, and then now, I don't know if you want to kind of speak to your business and like maybe some upcoming change that might be coming, and how you're going to be maybe stepping into the unknown where that lack of clarity and definition is there.
Yeah. Well, I think what came to mind when I was listening to you is like this imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I think too, anytime that we are moving into this new space or new role or new identity, it's normal. It's normal to have those insecurities and then you really quickly remind yourself like, no, I got this. You are this. You can do this, but sometimes we think, oh, they have it all figured out and they never second guess themselves, but I do,
Yes.
and I think it's just, we're all human. We all have those thoughts. We all have those insecurities, and we all can, tell them to sit down and continue moving forward, so that just came to mind, that imposter syndrome, and yeah, as far as change goes, like I said, we all experience change, and it's constantly coming into our lives. And for me too, I am in this position right now in my life where I'm in transition, and I don't know what that looks like. But I definitely feel a door closing in my life, and know that that door needs to fully close
And
for
line in the
the
sand needs to happen.
yeah, for something else to open. I think sometimes we want to do this like straddling act,
Yes.
where I'm like, I'm half over here, but I'm like starting to move in this direction too. And that's a really challenging place to be. And so just really embracing, and for me, I do a lot of reflection, journaling, because that creates clarity for me. And just asking myself those questions: what is it that you want? What is bringing you joy? What lights your fire? And getting really clear on on what it is that brings me joy. What are my gifts? And the opposite, what's not feeling right now, what feels out of alignment, what is not working, what's not bringing me joy. And I think when we take the time to ask those questions and answer them honestly, then we really know where we're supposed to be moving and in what direction. And then it's that leap. It's that leap of faith, and really moving. Like for me, when I can see it on paper, I'm like, this is so clear.
Yes.
It's so clear that this door needs to close, and I'm only keeping it open because it's what I know and it's what I've done, and it's scary to do something new. But then when I look at it on paper, I'm like, no, clearly this is where my heart is moving. This feels in alignment, that, this is the right direction. So I think sometimes it's just, when we're in those transitions and making changes in our life, it's getting really clear on those things. So
that's kind of been the thread that's woven into this whole conversation. It's about having that clarity of, it's like a vision. What do you truly want? What direction do you want to go? Who do you want to be? And then start identifying with that instead of reinforcing what you've been doing. So as we close out the conversation, I always like to end with the question of what is some inspiration or advice for yourself that might inspire other people on the topic of change?
Some inspiration for myself.
Or like advice for others, and sometimes they're like, oh, that's for me too. So like, what would you advise, say your two daughters, like when they're facing life with change, what's kind of Rose West's nugget of wisdom regarding change?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I think that anytime we are in a community of people, community is wonderful. I love community. I think community is so needed. But whether it's like your yoga community or your work community or just your friend group, sometimes we can just get lost in the mix of wherever that's going. And I feel like for me, that very much happened in my business, and for a long time it was great and it was growing me in a really good direction. And then one day I woke up and I was like, wait, hold on, who am I outside of this community? And so I guess my advice would be, to sometimes you need to silence out the noise, the voices, the everybody around you, and spend some time alone, figuring out who you are, what your values are, like I said, what your gifts are, and really, take some time to get clear for yourself what it is that you want, what it is that brings you joy, and what it is that you want to, what the legacy is that you want to leave, the impact, that you want to have. And then go, okay, if this community that I am in is moving in a different direction, and I now see, because I've spent that time to really kind of mute out everything and get clear, and now they're going this way and I'm going this way, then I need to like really take a good hard look at that, and start to align myself with a new community, a new people that are going to move me in that same direction. So, it's the same thing, you can relate it to business, but you can also relate it if you have major health goals, and all of your friends, like to party, are all, unhealthy, make a lot of unhealthy choices, and you're going out to eat with them, you're going on vacation with them, you're spending time with those people, it's going to be really, really challenging to, and it's not to say we can't love those people, we can't still communicate and be in relationship with them, but one of the best things that you can do is, if you have health goals, start hanging out with healthy people. Start going and, people that have a lifestyle that's active, people that, are not drinking and, doing those things, and find a way to like hang out with those other group of people in a way, and, not around food and, types of things.
Morning walks instead of
let's go on a morning walk instead of let's go out to dinner or whatever, so it's really, you got to think about those things when you're making those changes
and being intentional.
Totally. So.
Oh, Rose, this was so great. Thank you for giving your time. And I have a lot of notes. That's one of the things about my book, is that there's a spot for journaling, because so there's a topic and then a spot for journaling, because I'm a big reflector too. And if I don't put it on paper, it's not as clear for me if it's just swimming in my head. So thank you. And for everyone, if you want to get a hold of Rose, what's the best way people can reach out to you? Are you on social media?
Yes. So I am Rose West _ healthy and happy on Instagram.
Awesome.
Or Rose West on Facebook. So
awesome. And then East Wind Yoga, mostly in Auburn, right?
Yeah, Auburn, East Wind, 9 a.m. Fridays, Buti yoga. So yeah, come join us.
Awesome. All right, well, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see everyone next week.
All right, bye. Thanks so much.